Well, Benjamin Franklin once famously said that the only thing certain in life is death and taxes. But between the two, death is not always the more preferred conversation topic, and so a new art exhibition wants to encourage you to try to explore the topic of dying. Held at Khoo Teck Puat Hospital, Both Sides Now is an immersive arts experience. It's designed to get you to be in a reflective mood and think about end-of-life concerns through installations, short films, animation and public dialogue. And you're also invited to draft your will. Think about what you want and what you don't want to see happen, and you also get to explore the issue from the perspective of healthcare professionals and caregivers.
We thought we might receive some complaints, or people might say, oh, this is really inappropriate that you do it here, but we have not heard those comments. And in fact, people do come in regularly and very easily start sharing their stories because it triggers their memory of something.
The exhibition is commissioned by the Leun Foundation and ACM Foundation and presented by Arts Walk and Drama Box. So we have in studio Zi Qian from the ACM Foundation and Kok Heng Leun, Artistic Director at Drama Box. So gentlemen, great having you here today. Thank you for coming. So let's start with what we heard earlier from your producer, Su Lin. She said that the response has been quite positive. Were you guys expecting that?
Yes, I think we do expect people to actually respond positively to this.
Because you know, death and dying is not always the easiest thing to talk about, as you would know, because you've been in the industry for a long time. So the whole point of this was to get more people to be more comfortable about speaking up about it. Is that correct?
Yeah. Really most important is that the Both Sides Now has created a safe space to engage caregivers, healthcare professionals, and even patients to partake in it, to tell us what they want for themselves.
So on that topic of safe space, let's hear a comment from the CEO of the Leun Foundation. It's his perspective about why we might have reservations here in Singapore.
I think Singapore is still steep in the dark ages when it comes to conversation about death and dying itself. But I do sense that a lot of people want to have a conversations. It's just that they are not invited. There's no platform or safe place for them to come together and have that conversation.
So now that you guys have created this safe space for people to have a conversation, you know, tell us a bit more about why you decided to hold it in a hospital.
I think one of the things is that when you do it in a hospital, you are actually directly engaging with a lot of people with that serious concern. But at the same time, this hospital is very unique because it's open to the community and it's such an open space whereby people living around the area will actually come. So we really then have to create an artwork that will engage people of different sectors.
So, Zi Qian, you're in the funeral business, of course, and was there anything about this exhibition that actually surprised you or got you thinking a bit more about death and death care?
I would think that the spontaneous response and reactions from the children that the creative team have interviewed was very surprised because they was very spontaneous, and it also shows how they, as a small kid, how do they manage death? How do they view death of their loved ones? So this is something very amazing. That's
really interesting. So Both Sides Now, what was the inspiration behind the theme of that? You know, it's a Joni Mitchell song, so yes. Is that the inspiration?
Well, it actually started with us talking about death, and we realized that we can't just talk about death, we have to talk about living. And so then we were looking at two sides of a continuum, and the song comes immediately. Something gained, something lost.
And then when you were approached to help out with the exhibition, what was your first response?
Hospital. I think that's the first response. I think the second thing is that we realized the topic is really very deep and very broad, and how to actually bring audience into a kind of perspective. And I think what's important is to create a kind of dialogue, make people talk about it, so that you realize that death is just not about yourself, right, but it involves the society, the community.
Right, and given our aging population, Zi Qian, you know, over the years, have you noticed that people are becoming a bit more open, a bit willing to talk about it, more willing?
Yeah, I think in both living and dying, we need to really put thoughts into it, and then we have to see, and because by recognizing death is the end journey, we tend to live our life at this point earlier. So it's never too early to think about end-of-life issues, how we want to move on, how we want the funerals to be. It's never too early to do that. Because by making your choices at this moment, you tend to have meaningful experiences, not only for yourself, but for those around you and for those you leave behind as well.
Okay.
So living well requires wisdom, and living well requires courage.
Very well said, very well put. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming in, and we look forward to the exhibition. I mean, I'll probably pop down and have a look.
Do come down.
So that was Zi Qian and Heng Leun. So both sides now runs for the next 3 weeks until the 8th of December at Khoo Teck Puat Hospital.